Hi, everybody. How are you? Good. Have you all heard of Roaming Radish? All right. All right. So I want to tell her story today because she began 43 years ago. I grew up on a farm in Oregon, a true working farm. My sister and I spent our days in the pasture, riding our wild ponies, chasing after the baby goats, playing in the creek, and taking naps in the hayloft. And after chores, I loved climbing an apple tree and leaning back and just looking at the sky through the leaves. Below this apple tree was a garden that I learned how to plant carrots in. My mom was the one that taught us to milk the goats and collect the eggs and butcher the chickens. She taught us how to compost. She taught us how to plant seeds. She taught us how to pick the bounty of this garden, and she taught us how to bring it into the kitchen and put it up. My mom was a canner. She loved canning. So we didn't just go out and pick a morning bowl of strawberries for the cereal bowl. We went out and picked strawberries at the You Pick Strawberry Farm all day long. Like, all of us, 50 pounds. That's a lot of strawberries. I know this now. But back then, I really did think it took a full 5-gallon bucket of blackberries to make a blackberry pie. One blackberry pie. So out to the pasture fence, my sister and I went to pick those blackberries with the promise that my mom was going to make us a pie when we got back. I love blackberry pie. The farm life is what taught me that there is something that is greater as a whole than the sum of its individual parts. So when we get back, my mom's making the blackberry pie. I loved playing with the crust, practicing that perfect circle for the pie, cinnamon swirl sticks, cookie cutter shapes, all while the scent of true summer was wafting out of that oven. I love blackberry pie. So when I was 12, my family migrated this farm to Whidbey. I even think that one of our goats gave birth to babies on the highway somewhere in Centralia. Or maybe it was a rest stop, I don't know, but the whole farm came. There is my wild pony. By the time I was 14, I joined the workforce. So Neil at Neil's Clover Patch gave me my first job, washing dishes, and I quickly became obsessed with food. I was always watching what the chefs were doing. I wanted to be over there. And so when I was 16, I traded this pony in for a car, and off to work I go. Couldn't wait to get out of school so that I could get to work. So I'm going to Francisco's now in Langley. And here I was out of the dish pit and on to tossing salads and learning how to make cheesecake. Wait till you add blackberries to cheesecake. That is so fantastic. I love it. So after graduation, I wanted to travel, but I didn't really want to pay for it, and I knew that I didn't have to. So I got a job on a cruise ship in the kitchen, in the galley, and so, there's no windows in this galley, and it's small. It's like the size of this red dot here. But it was fun. We went up and down the Columbia River. We went to Alaska, but it didn't really seem like it was going anywhere for me. So I decided I'm going to go to school, I'm going to go to college and do business studies because I knew I wanted to own my own business someday. I realized, sitting in these classes, that I could probably learn this in the library for free. And yes, I wanted to get back to the kitchen. That was learning for me. That was the passion in what I wanted to do. So I dropped out of school. So then I started just bouncing around, finding chefs that I wanted to learn something from them, getting jobs, getting paid to learn, getting paid to practice skills, hone my flavor profiles. And one of my bounces back onto Whidbey, I was working at the Raven. I met a boy who just moved here from New York, well, a young man. This man rocked my world. He moved here to see the Olympic Peninsula, and that's one of my favorite places in the world. So I was like, what are you doing next week? I'll take you. The words just fell out of my mouth before I even knew it. It's just like, oh, okay. So you're mine. Whidbey, small town, Got to get them while they're hot. So that next weekend, we went hiking in the Hoh rainforest, and we watched the sunset over the or over the ocean, over the water. And we came back to Whidbey, and we fell in love here on Whidbey. We hiked in the woods. We spent days on the beach. We planted gardens. But from day one, we found ourselves in the kitchen. This man had me at first bite. The most amazing sandwich. Simple, amazing sandwich that I've ever had. He first started with whole wheat bread, hand sliced, sticky, icky, beautiful seeds all over the top of it, crunchy surprises. He made this cream cheese dip that is now a staple in almost every menu I have ever had. It's cream cheese, spicy, fresh herbs, chives, garlic, not too spicy. So he took this and he spread it on the toasted bread, laid out cucumber slices so that every bite was going to be ensured to have one of those crunchy bursts of flavor. The lettuce, the tomato, everything just kind of stacked up on itself. The sandwich was beautiful. I loved the sandwich. So that bite, that first amazing bite, was greater as a whole than the sum of each individual ingredient. And the same quickly became true for JP and I. So we're married now, little hippie kids, married now. We, too, bounced around. So we went to Virginia. We came back, and we went back to Virginia to stay. And Virginia has a really special place in my heart. My first farm was there. I had a goat dairy there. So I spent my days milking goats and making cheese and spinning clay on pottery wheels and hands in the dirt, and now the sun rises over the ocean. And it was the bounce back to Whidbey, this final one, that really surprised us both. But honestly, families, too, are greater as a whole than they are as their individual parts. And I'm happy to be here. JP and I have been dreaming of restauranting from the moment we met. We've been playing in the kitchen. We've been developing flavors and working on designs and really slowly making our way to that edge where we're going to jump, take that leap of faith. And in 2012, we did. And Roaming Radish sprouted up as a catering company. And really quickly, this business, I swear, we're running behind her constantly, trying to keep up with her, just like a toddler. I guess, I don't have any of those, so. But she, too, became greater as a whole than the sum of her individual parts. Greater than me, greater than JP, greater than all of it. Farmers, friends, family, community. She was a whole. And before we knew it, she was a restaurant, and we had our restaurant. There she is. I'm so grateful for knowing that my connection to food and farming and hard work and passion-driven days has gotten me this far in my life. And a lot like that first sandwich that JP made me 23 years ago now, every ingredient has built to complement the last and lay a foundation for the next. And I challenge you all to find that. Go find your greatest whole and not be an individual sum. And do it one bite at a time. Thank you.